And get started here. Just start by saying we're happy to be back here at home this weekend. Another great opponent coming into town with Michigan Wolverines. First night game of the year for us. Really excited to see the atmosphere that's created here with Stripe the birthplace and the first night game of the season. I know a lot of conversation about injury update. Just a quick one on Greg Jones. He's fine. He was fine after the game. He was walking around on the sideline and felt good. They're doing some evaluations on him. Not sure of his availability for this week or when he'll be back, but he's fine and will be back at some point. Hopefully it's this week, but not sure on that yet today. Couple things from Saturday. Obviously wasn't a great day. Wasn't the day that we wanted. After watching the video tape, that's a very good football team that we played, but just disappointed in our play and the team that showed up. And we've got to do a better job, especially against outstanding teams like that on the road. But we will move on. Had meetings yesterday. Got through a lot of corrections and conversations about the game and how we played and how we continue to get better and move forward. So we'll move on and learn from it and keep getting better and keep developing players as we go. This Saturday, obviously Michigan comes to town. Another top 5 team that we've played, but a very good football team. Offensively, they're multiple. They're physical on the offensive line. They run the ball exceptionally well. Got good skill on the outside, and they're scoring a lot of points. I think they've been over 40 points in every one of their games except the one this last Saturday against Wisconsin. Defensively, they're big and physical on the defensive line. They're an attacking defense, like to bring a lot of pressure, getting a lot of sacks right now. Putting a lot of stress on offenses. They're very good in the secondary. They got outstanding corners, and obviously nickel Jabril Peppers is an outstanding player. Special teams-wise, very well coached and, again, dynamic in the return game with Peppers back there. So another big challenge for us and another opportunity for us to go out and continue to try to improve and measure where we're at against one of the nation's top teams. So with that, we'll go ahead and open it up for questions.
Chris, do you know Coach Harbaugh at all? Have you guys ever, had a conversation, been in the same room, that kind of thing?
Yeah. When he was at Stanford, he actually interviewed me for a job at Stanford years ago. I think I can't remember what year it was. I was at San Diego State at the time, 2007 maybe, something like that. It's the only time I've had really conversation with him. But he's a guy I got a lot of respect for, followed his career. He started his head coaching career in the Pioneer Football League at the University of San Diego, and that's where I cut my teeth in coaching at Drake. San Diego and Drake played each other. Anytime you get a guy like Jim Harbaugh starting off in the Pioneer League, that's a big deal in that league, and followed his career and the success that he had there. And then as he moved on to Stanford and the great job that he did there. So, in terms of having a personal relationship or anything like that, I don't. But other than the time that I interviewed with him at Stanford.
All right, I'll go again. You mentioned Jabril Peppers. Just kind of you have 20 years of experience. How versatile a kid is he, whether he's playing offense, defense, special teams, linebacker, nickel back?
He's as good as there's been. He can do it all. He's obviously got good size, freakish athletic ability, good ball skills. He's tough, not afraid to hit you. When he's on offense and runs the ball, he runs it hard. He can make you miss, run through you. My years of coaching, he's as good as there is.
Chris, you obviously weren't happy after the game the other day for obvious reasons. Are you contemplating any personnel changes in the starting lineup on either side of the ball, or is it just a matter of the guys executing better?
No, I mean, if we felt there were individuals that could help us win games, we'd put them out there. We've had a long time to evaluate our personnel all the way back from last spring through the summer and training camp, and we have a pretty good feel of who gives us the best chance to go out and have success, and that's who we're playing with right now. We played an outstanding football team. That team is second-ranked team in the nation for a reason. And anytime you play really good football teams, they have a say in how you look, as a football team. And they had a lot to say in how we looked Saturday. Did we play well in our own eyes? No, we didn't. We had a lot of mental mistakes that we made in that game. But that team had a lot to do with that.
Chris, How was the attitude of the team getting back here and just starting a new week and getting back into meetings and practices?
Well, we had meetings yesterday, and obviously it's a somber feeling when you go through a game. Like anytime you lose, it's tough when you've invested a lot. After we lost the Iowa game, it was a very quiet Sunday, in here because guys had worked really hard and felt like we had a chance to win that game. So yesterday was no different. The guys are disappointed, they're down. We went through and evaluated the film like we always do. We didn't go on the practice field yesterday. We just been going a long time through training camp with no bye week, and we've had a really physical last couple games, and we just need to get their minds and bodies right. So we gave them off from going out on the field in the effort of trying to come back and be a little fresher on Tuesday.
Thoughts on Tylen Oden's progress, and is he getting closer to being ready to really run the offense?
Well, you guys saw him out there Saturday. I mean, it's obvious he's not ready. If he was, he'd be out there, full time. He's not, and he's got a long way to go. We're trying to bring him along, but he's got a long way to go. That quarterback position is a position that we've been struggling at, but that's not the only position. We've got a lot of positions that we've struggled at when we played really good teams.
Traditionally, some of Rutgers' biggest efforts have come on night games. You were on the other side of it. How much of an impact can that have on a game like this? And just can you expand on the stripe to birthplace?
Sometimes night games maybe give the players a little extra incentive or adrenaline, when the game starts. But at the end of the day, whether it's an afternoon game at noon or a night game, we got to go out and execute, our offense, defense, and special teams. Hopefully it's a great atmosphere. Hopefully a lot of fans show up. It'll be cool if we stripe the birthplace the way that we want it to be done. I know the administration's worked hard at trying to make this a really cool atmosphere, and I'm excited to see what turns out. But I'm more worried about our football team and our ability to go out and execute on offense, defense, and special teams than I am anything else. And again, I don't really care when the ball's kicked off, but we have to play better.
What is your opinion of Michigan as a recruiting rival for Rutgers? And paired with that, how have you found the balance in season of sort of coaching your team? But there are recruiting things that are ongoing all the time. I'm sure you're going to have kids at the game and that, so what has that balance been like for you? But first off, just where does Michigan stand as a recruiting rival?
Well, I can't say that anybody's a rival with us yet. I mean, we haven't won a Big Ten game. Until you win a Big Ten game, it's hard to say that anyone's a rival. I mean, they do an outstanding job of recruiting nationwide. They always have. The university always has. Like Ohio State, they're two of the premier universities in college football, and they recruit outstanding every year. Since Coach Harbaugh has been there, he's taken it to another level. He's been very creative, thinks outside the box, continues to find new ways to get his brand out there and market the Block M and give him a lot of credit. He's done an outstanding job. That whole staff has done an outstanding job. So, to sit here and say they're a rival, I can't say that. But my hats are off to them for the job that they've been able to do in the couple years that he's been there and the classes they've put together. And then, for us, we have a weekly schedule that balances out our opponent preparation time, our practice time, our film evaluation time, and our recruiting time. So we recruit as a staff throughout the week on certain times, whether it's film evaluation, it's phone calls, it's contacts with the recruits or coaches or parents, but that's all laid out throughout the week. And if you don't do it that way, then what usually gets pushed aside at this time of year is recruiting, and we don't want that to happen. So it's built into our weekly schedule, and everybody knows that football stops and we're going to recruit.
Coach, you had Josh Hicks back returning kickoffs. What was behind that decision? How do you think he did, and will he be the returner against Michigan on Saturday?
Well, Sergeant Aaron Grant wasn't here, so someone had to do it. And Juwan Harris is already doing a lot of other things. We couldn't have him do something else. I can't say that he did great or bad. I mean, when you look at Ohio State's kickoff structure, they do a great job. It's what we would like to be able to do here. They get excellent kicks. They're not a team that wants to get touchbacks. They want to kick the ball as close to the goal line as possible with the best hang time as possible and put really fast dudes out and get down the field and eliminate the space for the returner. When you look at Saturday's game, they did an outstanding job of doing that. That was a big factor in what happened at the end of the first half. Their ability to change the field position with with their kickoff team was a big deal. In the last 6 minutes, we're down 9-0, I think, with just over 6 minutes to go in the second quarter. We go into the locker room down 30-0. And a lot of it had to do with what they were able to do on their kickoff team, and Josh really didn't have a chance to get going.
Where you only see one player catch 3 passes, it's a little eye-popping. Can that be fixed, some of those issues? You talked about press coverage. Can that be fixed in the span of a week going into Michigan?
No, I mean, there's a lot of things that go into that. When teams are talented like Ohio State, and they can press you and smother you, and then they can rush the passer with 4 guys, that's a challenging combination. I've said this week after week, how do we throw the ball better? We got to protect better is 1. 2, we have to be able to get open. 3, we got to be able to set our feet and throw with the proper fundamentals. And then the 4th one that we're not doing very good at is catching the ball also. So when you look at Saturday's game, there were some guys that were open at times and we didn't catch the ball the right way. There were some guys that were open and we didn't hit them. There were some guys that opened and we had pressure on the quarterback. And right now our ability to get, those 4 things done together consistently, it's not where it needs to be. So it's a work in progress. It's something that we emphasize weekly in all those areas, and it's got to get better if we want to be able to have the balance that we want on offense.
Chris Laviano takes a brunt of the criticism from the fan base. Can you safely or definitively say that the passing issues are not like his fault, or how much of it is tied to Chris and the struggles?
It's the nature of the beast. When things go well on offense, who usually gets a lot of credit? Quarterbacks. When things don't go well on offense, who usually gets a lot of the criticism? Quarterbacks. Everybody talks about a football team's quarterback. That's just the nature of the business. If you don't want to be in that conversation, don't be a quarterback. Can some of our passing issues be contributed to Chris? Absolutely. Are they all contributed to Chris? Not at all. Again, it's offensive line, it's route running, it's catching, it is throwing, it is proper mechanics, it's decision making. So there's a lot that goes into it. But Chris has improved, and I know some people will look at the stats from last Saturday and say no, he hasn't. Well, I'm just telling you, that's a pretty good defensive secondary in front that we played against. We need to be a little more creative on how we can get guys off of press, with whether it be motions or certain alignments that allow us to do that, so we're not pressed all the time. But there's a lot that goes into it. It's no different than a run game. Just because we run the ball well doesn't mean it's just the offensive line. The receivers, the tight ends, quarterback's got to make the right decisions. Running back's got to make the right reads. So there's a lot that goes into it.
As important as this game is just for now, for this season, for this team, is it possible to not think about ramifications in terms of recruiting? And I obviously bring up the Michigan one because, I cover North Jersey and the success, specific success that they've had there with some of the top rated guys. Is it impossible to even ignore that there is kind of a bigger ripple effect potentially?
No, I mean, every time we go out and line up, there's a ripple effect for everything. I've said this openly. I'm not overly concerned. At the end of the season, how many wins and losses we have. I'm concerned, are we playing our best football at the end of the season? Have we established an identity on offense, defense, and special teams? Do we feel like, we're playing and executing our jobs and competing to the best of our ability as we go through the season? That's what I'm concerned about, because if we don't, there's a ripple effect for a lot of things. There's a ripple effect for recruiting, fundraising, all that stuff. But right now, with us in recruiting, we've talked to our recruits a lot about the foundation that we've laid, the direction that we're going, how they fit into our future plans. And I don't think anybody has second-guessed that or wavered based off of last Saturday's game. Coming out of the Iowa game, a lot of people were excited about the progress that we'd made in the direction they felt like we were going. One setback's not going to hurt that, but we have to play better. We have to be competitive. We need to be well coached, and we need to be well prepared, because nobody wants to be a part of a program that's not.
Chris, two-parter in regards to Ross Douglas. One, obviously he was making a huge transition, and then he got injured, and now he's back. Where is he at in learning to play defensive back and being able to help your secondary? And two, does it help at all, even in a little bit, to have somebody who knows their personnel, was on the inside there just last year?
No, I mean, I talked to you guys about that last year. Nobody had more knowledge about personnel and schemes than I did for Ohio State. There'll never be a situation probably like that for me again, but it's not about what one individual knows. It's about going out and doing your job, and it's your players versus their players. That's what that is about. So just like I told you last week, there was no advantage of my knowledge of Ohio State. There's not an advantage of anybody else in our program on any knowledge they may have on Michigan. That's not what this is about. It's about us trying to go out and play better and play the best that we can play against another outstanding football team, and that's all that really matters. And Ross had been injured, got hurt in the Howard game, but he's not 100%, but we slowly got him back last week, and he was able to do a couple things on special teams. Knowledge and football IQ is not an issue for Ross at all. It's just being able to go out and play. Yep. Thank you, guys.